A quiet train ride home. Dozens of passengers, and suddenly, a scream. Someone pulls out their phone and dials 911.
Stabbed this woman for no reason. I was standing right beside her.
You said a male stabbed someone for no reason? Do they need medical?
Yes, on the train. Yes, she bleeding.
Okay, stand line with...
On the other end of the line, a dispatcher hears panic as a caller says, "There's a woman on the train. She's been stabbed."
The lady right now on the ground with a lot of blood, and everybody's screaming that she got stabbed, and I don't know if anybody's called 911 yet. People are just freaking out.
Within minutes, police would rush to a light rail station in Charlotte. But by the time they arrived, it was already too late.
Welcome to Red Call, the channel that examines real emergency calls and the terrifying moments behind them. Tonight's story contains disturbing events and real-life tragedy. Viewer discretion is advised. On the evening of August 22nd, 2025, commuters boarded the Lynx Blue Line, a public light rail system serving Charlotte. For most passengers, it was just another ordinary ride home. Students scrolled through their phones. Workers leaned back in their seats after long shifts. Public transit is filled with strangers sharing the same space, yet rarely interacting. But on this particular train, two passengers were about to cross paths in the worst possible way. One of the passengers that night was Irina Zarutska. She was just 23 years old. Irina had moved to the United States after fleeing the war in Ukraine. She hoped to build a new life, studying English and working while adjusting to a new country. Friends described her as kind and optimistic, someone who had endured hardship yet still believed in a brighter future. On that evening, she boarded the train at Scalated Station. Like everyone else on the train, she likely expected nothing more than a routine trip home. Already sitting on the train that night was DeCarlos Brown Jr. Investigators later learned that he had been riding the train system for hours before the attack. Surveillance footage reportedly showed him acting strangely, making unusual movements and laughing to himself. At one point earlier that evening, transit security passed by him on the train. But nothing immediately triggered alarm. On public transportation, unusual behavior often goes unnoticed.
At around 9:46 p.m., Irina boarded the train and took a seat. Surveillance video would later reveal something chilling. The man sitting behind her was the suspect. There was no conversation between them. No argument, no warning. Just 4 minutes later, everything changed. Investigators say the suspect suddenly pulled out a folding pocket knife. Without warning, he attacked the passenger sitting in front of him. Irina was stabbed multiple times from behind. Witnesses on the train began shouting in shock. Some passengers fled the train car. Others tried to understand what had just happened. For several terrifying seconds, chaos filled the train. And perhaps the most unsettling detail of all, the train keeps moving. No alarms, no sudden stop. Just the steady rhythm of steel wheels on track. Passengers gather around Irina, trying to understand what happened. Someone calls for help.
There's just a lady right now on the ground with a lot of blood, and everybody's screaming that she got stabbed, and I don't know if anybody's called 911 yet. People are just freaking out.
Another pulls out a phone. In the background, the man who had been sitting behind her calmly walks toward the train doors. Security cameras record every step. He removes his sweatshirt and waits, as if nothing has happened. Inside the train car, confusion turns quickly into urgency. Passengers who only moments earlier had been quietly riding home now find themselves in the middle of an unfolding emergency. One person pulls out their phone. Another moves toward the intercom. Someone shouts for help. Within seconds, multiple people begin dialing 911. The calls come in almost simultaneously. Dispatchers hear overlapping voices, frightened, confused, trying to explain what just happened on a moving train. The information is fragmented at first. A woman has been attacked. It happened inside the train. The train is still moving. Emergency operators work quickly to determine the location of the train and alert police units nearby. Within moments, Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officers are dispatched toward the next station on the line. From the outside, the platform appears calm. A few people stand waiting for the next train. The night air is still. But inside the train car, tension is building rapidly. Passengers gather near the center of the car. Some attempt to assist. Others stand back in shock, trying to understand what they just witnessed. When the train slows and the doors slide open, the suspect steps out onto the platform. Security cameras capture the moment. He walks away from the train at a normal pace. Not running, not panicking, just walking. Within minutes, police arrive at the station. Officers approach and detain him there on the platform. The arrest happens quickly, calmly. But inside the train car, the situation remains urgent. Paramedics rush inside to help. Emergency vehicles begin arriving at the station. Blue lights flash against the station walls and the steel rails. Police tape is stretched across the platform. The train itself becomes evidence. Every seat, every camera, every second of recorded footage. Inside the car,
Emergency responders attempted to help the victim. Despite emergency efforts, Irina Zarutska was pronounced dead at the scene. News of the attack spread quickly across the country. A young woman who had fled war had lost her life during a routine train ride. Prosecutors charged the suspect with first-degree murder and a federal charge related to violence on public transportation. If convicted, he could face life in prison or even the death penalty. Crimes like this remind us how fragile everyday moments can be. A simple train ride, a normal evening commute, and one sudden act of violence that changed countless lives forever. If you want more real emergency call stories, subscribe to Red Call, because sometimes the most terrifying stories begin with a single phone call.